Hello. Great. All right, so it is noon, so I'll just keep letting people in. Apparently, I have to let them in. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
But I'll let you guys sort of take it from here and lead everyone on this food, flowers, herbs, and oils session for everyone to enjoy today. We have your email, so we'll be sending you some notes if they need to. If you have any questions, we'll all be in contact. So enjoy, ladies.
Well, I just wanted to start off by thanking Yana and New York Yoga and Life magazine for hosting these Zoom chats to keep us all connected and engaged during this time. So thank you, Yana. And then for those of you that don't know us, I'm LouLou Piscatore, and I'm co-hosting with the amazing Lindsay Fauntleroy. We're both licensed acupuncturists.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay. Very excited to be here and very excited about all the stuff we're going to be talking about today. It's like my favorite.
Yes. And also, we encourage questions. So I think it's better if everyone mutes right now, but then please feel free to take yourself off of mute if you have a question. And also, you can use the chat feature to ask us questions, but we love questions.
And we're also going to have some space at the end to welcome your questions based on what we share today as well. So all the ways we can stay connected and in touch and as we move through this stuff.
And so Lindsay's going to start us off with some intro material.
Sure. So what we are up to today is we are talking about the wood element. And for those of you that are new to this kind of medicine, to Chinese medicine, to acupuncture, the wood element is one of 5 elements. And each element tells us a little bit about something that might be going on in our mind, in our heart, and in our bodies. And so if we look at this symbol like a clock, we can see that, you know, if this were a map, it'd be one of those little "you are right here" buttons. But this line across the middle is what we would call the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. You can see it's right in that middle of the balance between yin and yang.
Can I just pause you for 1 second?
Sure.
If we could, we're getting a lot of background noise. So if everyone could hit mute, that would be awesome. Okay, go for it. Thank you.
So going back to this symbol, one way you can look at this symbol, like I said, it's like a clock where the white side of the symbol is yang, or the sun, or the solar energy, and the dark part is the yin, or the moon, or the lunar energy. And so right here across the middle, we have the equinox. So sun rises and sun sets at the same time, equal day and night. Then you kind of come up here to the top where you have longer days and shorter nights. So that would be the summer solstice. And then all the way down here at the bottom, you have longer nights and shorter days, or yang, or solar energy. And that is the water element. So where we are right here on this map is that we just came through the equinox. Happy Easter, everybody. And this kind of rising force of what we call the wood element. And what LouLou and I are going to talk to you about today is, what the heck does that mean? And what the heck do we do about it? What are some of the remedies, the flowers, the foods, the herbs, and the oils that can support all the things that come up with the wood element during this time of year? So the first thing to know about the wood element is that it's the upward energy. It's the energy of things sprouting up and springing up and coming up into the world. And we use this little picture of the sprout to symbolize the wood element, because you'll see outside right now, everything's kind of blossoming and shooting up and beginning to look for the light. And on an emotional level, the energy that helps us to do that, or the energy that's associated with the wood element, is anger. So a lot of people, as you're feeling that sprouting up, anger is the energy that comes up for us when that sprouting and that growing gets blocked.
I just wanted to interject here because I always think of this as like we're moving from the energy of the winter, which is like all the way down deep underneath the soil, planting the seeds, and like the energy it takes for that little seed to like push up through the earth, and like that feeling is what liver chi feels like to me and what wood energy feels like to me. It's not like a straight shot and like everyone's happy. It's like this like struggle and this force to like break through. And so there's a lot of signs and symptoms that go along with that energy and its ability to break through to the surface.
So when all goes well, when that energy is able to kind of push up and then it like sees the sun and it's like, oh, that beautiful spring-like energy, it brings us this sense of being like what we call the peaceful warrior. It's like we have ease, there's like this free and easy flow. We have like agency, so we're able to like make things happen. We feel good, we feel kind, and there's just like this ease about our lives, and we have this like clear purpose and vision. So it's like the spring and the wood element inside of us gives us this like sense of ease, this sense of clarity, this sense of like hope and possibility, like, oh, what's coming, kind of this looking ahead and being like, oh, I have this great vision for the summer or for my life. And then when that doesn't happen as well, like LouLou described, one of two things happen when something gets blocked. It either explodes to kind of push through the obstruction, or it kind of sinks down and gives up and is like, I don't even want to fight anymore. And so the way that shows up in our minds and our hearts that we might be seeing a lot of this season is anger and frustration. Tension, irritability, agitation, feeling a little less patient, a little more like, oh my God, I want this to be over, whatever the it is. So the wood element is kind of waking that up in us as it kind of draws us out of the depths of the winter. And then the other side of it is, like I mentioned, when we give up the fight. And so we can sink down into depression and sadness or feeling hopeless, like we can't really see a vision for how to move forward. A lot of people are experiencing that right now, being sheltered in or having their income or their jobs changing, with this like kind of feeling of hopelessness and feeling really unclear, like I can't quite make heads or tails out of how to move forward, or I can't make up my mind about how to move forward. And those are really all signatures of the wood element. And what's beautiful about that is that when we recognize these things happening within ourselves, we have all of these different tools that we're going to share that we can use to work with those energies and really move things around and shake things up. So the last piece is in our bodies with the wood element. We might feel neck or shoulder tension or any kind of muscular tension, because the wood element really looks at those channels that run through the inner parts of our legs, but especially the neck and shoulders. We might get indigestion from the wood element. Definitely our menstrual cycles and our hormones can get a little wonky with the wood element when it's out of balance. LouLou, anything you want to add to that? I know you work a lot with the meridians.
Yes, and just backing it up a tiny bit, in Chinese medicine, the wood element is connected to the liver and the gallbladder, but we'll just say the liver for our purposes. And the liver in Chinese medicine is in charge of movement of everything, movement of qi, movement of blood, and movement of emotions. And other elements might exist in like terms of deficiency or excess, but with the liver, it's always about stagnation or movement. So having muscle tension is a sign of stagnation. It's like the energy is not moving through that meridian and it's stuck. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Perfect. So what do we do about it? And I'm gonna, Lulu, I know you work a lot with foods as well. So if you could talk to us about some of the foods that we need, that we can, or we're invited to bring in to help us ease that liver qi stagnation.
Yes, and I love that you use the word ease the liver or soothe the liver, because that's how I refer to it also. So the biggest thing about which foods you should be eating during springtime, you should be eating greens. Greens soothe the liver. And the one thing that I would like to say, and I will say 20 times today and 100 times after this, is please cook your greens. So one of the ways that energy gets stuck is cold. So you don't want to be putting tons of cold raw food in your system. Even though it's getting a little bit warmer out, it's still not summer. My heat was on this morning. It's not like 90 degrees outside, and salad is for summer. So you want to be adding in, I'm sure you're already eating them, but now would be a great time to add in lots of cooked green vegetables. And that is like pure liver food. It's going to help to cleanse the liver. I mean, the liver is in charge of cleansing your entire body. The liver is like the workhorse of the body, and it gets like no credit. It has like 500 functions, like half of them we don't even know what they are. So I like to spend some time in the spring, just like spending time with my liver and supporting it and supporting its ability to cleanse the rest of our bodies and do all the things that it does, like move that chi and move those emotions and build and store and move blood. So greens, everything that is green is a liver food. And then the specific vegetable I wanted to recommend is asparagus, because it is the most purely yang food that you can eat. It like basically to me is spring. It's just like an arrow straight up. It doesn't even have any leaves. It's just like zing, like a straight up arrow. And that's the energy of yang and the energy of wood. And also, you should only really eat asparagus in March and early April. So like eat it now, because like that's when it comes up and that's when it's good to eat. And it's like eating asparagus not in season is not the same experience. Like if you eat the asparagus now, it will ruin you for eating it for the rest of the year, because it's like the most delicious thing you've ever eaten in your life. But I just love to use it as an example because it's the law of signatures. Like, what does it look like and what does it do? And asparagus is like pure upward energy, like zing. Next slide. Oh, oils. So because we're doing this today, I whipped up a batch of my Spring Fling blend last night because I like to spend some time with the oils and like, I just spend some time with them when I'm going to talk about them. And this is my spring blend, and I use, there they are, blue tansy, rosemary, meichang. Actually, it's not ylang ylang. It's fennel and lavender. So that those are the wrong ingredients, but that's fine. So what essential oils are great. The reason why I started developing these blends is so that my patients could treat themselves in between treatments. So this is a great way to self-treat while you can't get into the office for an acupuncture treatment. You can use this on acupuncture points, which we have some slides we're going to show, and we're going to send you some information about how to do that. But basically, this blend is soothing, is cleansing, and is moving. So it's everything that your liver needs right now. Also, it aids digestion because one of the symptoms when the liver qi gets stuck is it sort of backs up into your digestion. So it could slow things down. You can get bloated, tired after eating, that sort of thing. So the fennel in this addresses that as well. And it smells like springtime. It's just divine. So this would be the cleansing and moving and soothing. part of the caring for your liver. And this is one of the main points that I would use it on. It's called liver 3, and it's right between your big toe and your second toe. We will send you this picture. But one of the ways that you know that you're on it is, first of all, your finger sinks into it. And second of all, it's achy. It is achy on everyone. So you can massage that point, or better yet, just put a drop of either this blend or any one of those essential oils we talked about a second ago. Just put a drop of that right on liver 3, and it's going to move chi. And also, a little hint is if you have any menstrual cramps, you can massage this point, and it's incredibly effective.
I want to just add with this point, just a little tip. If you're like in a conversation with someone and you're starting to feel these wood element feelings of like agitation or annoyance, or they're just bothering you and getting on your nerves, you can also, in a kind of discreet way, just kind of sit and put the heel of one foot into that liver 3 point, and no one knows you're doing it, but it can just kind of like, okay, what were you saying? So that's my little secret trick.
Yes. And then this is another great point for any kind of stuck energy and stuck emotion. Do you want to talk about it, Lindsay?
Sure. This point is called, it's the last point on the liver meridian, and it ends right at the diaphragm, at the bottom of the rib cage. And if you kind of make your way there and try to press on that point, you'll feel it. It's usually quite tender. Yeah. And when you land on it, sometimes you'll feel yourself take a nice deep, like,
yeah,
because it really opens the diaphragm. And one of the signs of liver chi stagnation is a lot of sighing, like every time something happens, or you turn on the news, or you look on your email, and it's just kind of like, ugh. That's like a sign of that liver chi stagnation, feeling stuck and wanting to move. But the poetic name of this point, we call it liver 14, but the actual name of the point is the gate of hope, or the anticipatory gate. When you translate it from its original language, is a symbolic language. And so I really use this point a lot for feelings of hopelessness, feeling like there's no way out, feeling kind of, like LouLou said, stuck or stagnant, but in that way where things just kind of feel impossible. And this is a really great point that you can just even gently massage or press into. Again, you'll feel that like deep diaphragmatic release, and also just gently putting the essential oil on that point. A lot of times I'll use this point in my practice, and when I'll have someone on the table and we'll be talking about what's going on and where they feel stuck or trapped or hopeless, and we'll either needle or apply the essences to this point. And then when I come back, they'll say something along the lines of, one way I could move through this is. So it really just awakens that vision and that hope and that possibility.
Yes. A great way to find this point is that it's usually right on your bra line. So just a side note, like maybe start rethinking that underwire bra, because you're literally causing liver chi stagnation because it runs right over this acupuncture point. But it's no judgment if you don't want to.
I love this point so much. Like, I'm massaging it right now. I'm just like,
yeah, I know, right? Like, I haven't worn a bra in 3 weeks, and for the first time in my life, this point is not sore.
Okay, let's move on to the next oil.
My second blend for spring is called Sunshine in a Bottle, and it's a citrus blend, and it treats the other aspect of liver chi stagnation and stagnant wood energy that we were talking about, which is depression and hopelessness. And I wish that we were in person so you could smell it, but basically it's lemon, tangerine, sweet orange. Oh my God, that is my buzzer. I'm getting a delivery. Hold on one second.
Run, LouLou! I can speak for the sunshine in a bottle, and it really does. When you smell these, like,
Okay, I'm back.
it does feel like sun in your soul.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I love about essential oils is that, it just moves things. It just moves the energy so that it doesn't feel so trapped and stuck.
China, I'm going to text you the ingredients, but also we're going to send you an email with all of the information and all of the ingredients. But briefly, my blend is lemon, tangerine, sweet orange, bergamot, and ylang ylang. But any single one of those oils would be enough. Like, lemon essential oil to me is like an antidepressant in a bottle. Like, there's no way you can be depressed if you are like using lemon essential oil in your diffuser, or just put a drop on your wrist that you can smell during the day. Citrus oils are very uplifting, and they also have like a breaking up kind of quality. So they kind of like they're using cleaning products. Like, it's used to, hi Francis. You're using lemon right now? Oh my God. I wish everyone had lemon essential oil because it really is like an antidepressant. So the reason why citrus oils are in cleaning products is that it breaks up the dirt, right? So it has the same quality energetically. It just kind of breaks up the stagnation. It breaks up the, like, whatever's like kind of weighing on you. And they all have a very uplifting quality, which is yay.
And Lulu, I just want to add that this is like one of the many ways that you start to see how these different forms of plant medicine work together, whether it's the essential oils or, even during this time of year, it's a really great time of year to have lemon water in the morning.
Yes.
Because it detoxifies and it cleanses and it supports the liver. So there's this relationship between the foods we eat, the essential oils, the flower essences that we'll talk about in a bit. But it's all these different ways that plants are available to support us in line and keeping us healthy with each of the seasons.
Yes, exactly. And so I just wanted to mention one other thing about working with oils that, they're very accessible. They treat on many levels. So, like, for example, my spring fling blend, I developed that to work on a physical level. And this blend in particular is way more an emotional level. Like, this is way more about treating the depression aspect of it. So essential oils work on a physical level, they work on an energetic level, and they work on an emotional level, which is why they're so great for any kind of self-treatment that you want to do at home. Lindsay?
Yes. So on that note of talking about plant medicine that works on different layers of our being, I'd love to share a few flower essences with you. And I just want to take a minute to distinguish the difference between flower essences and essential oils, especially a lot of times when I talk about flower essences, people think that I'm talking about essential oils, and then I have to kind of go back and reframe. So essential oils that, like the essential oils that LouLou shared, are used in aromatherapy. They have wonderful magical scents. And for the most part, with some exceptions, but for the most part, we use them externally. So we apply them to points, we put them in diffusers, we use them topically in massage oils and things like that. But they're an external plant medicine, and they have a beautiful scent, and the scent is specific to each of, whatever plant is being used. So lavender has a distinct scent, citrus, bergamot, all of them have a very distinct scent. Flower essences, on the other hand, are herbal supplements, and they're taken internally. So as you see here, the standard dose for flower essence is 4 drops 4 times a day, or as needed for stress. And the thing with flower essences is that they work almost in the opposite direction. They start with working on our mind and our emotions, and then as we change our perceptions, as we change the way we think and feel, the energy in our body starts to move differently. And so the flower essences that I'd love to share are in line with the wood element, and all of those kind of the depression, the sadness, the feeling hopeless, and all of the things that we might be feeling that might be stagnating our chi, so that as we move through those emotions and thoughts, we can free up some energy in our body. So hopefully that makes sense and will make even more sense as I share some of these really great essences with you. Let's see, who's up first? Okay, so the first flower essence, this is a blend of flower essences, and it's called Stand. And it is a recipe for perseverance, hope, vision, and agency. So earlier when we talked about that wood element and that wood element chi that wants to go up and make change and like be bright and shining in the world, and then what happens when we feel like we can't, or there's something in our way and we just kind of give up. And so a lot of people are experiencing this right now, not just because of COVID-19, not just because of shelter in, but because it's the season of the wood element, and that is bringing our attention to all the places where we're not maybe doing what we would like to be doing, or where we feel blocked or frustrated.
And I just wanted to add, we talk about how anger is associated with the wood element, and I think anger gets a bad rep culturally, but it's also an incredibly motivating force. It can be used in a very positive way to kind of move you towards all of these things that you're discussing right now.
Yeah, and I think that, one of the phrases that we like to say is that anger is the energy of change.
Yes.
So just thinking about the force that is required of a little tiny sprout to go against the flow of all of gravity, it's kind of amazing. And that same force is within us. And so when we're feeling blocked and frustrated, it's helping. This is one of the flower essences that we might use to tap into our capacity to awaken that force in a positive way, and to have the confidence and the courage to move towards change. One of the flower essences in the Stand flower essence blend is dandelion.
Yes.
And dandelion is such a great flower. It's such a great flower for those who are in New York, because as a flower essence, it helps us to release the stress and emotional tension that we're holding in our bodies that's blocking our flow. And so when you're working with a flower essence like Stand, or specifically working with dandelion, what starts to happen is you start to become more aware of the things that you're stressed out about, that you've just been pushing down into your body. So you start to get an awareness of how you can maybe do things a little bit differently. Maybe that means exercise. Maybe that means eating differently because you've been eating to stuff down the stress. Maybe it means having that challenging conversation to kind of move the chi flow in your life and in your relationships. But dandelion is going to be that flower that helps us to become aware of how we're holding tension. And it also is a flower essence that kind of gives us a little whisper of like, stop working so hard. Like, just chill out and relax and stop going, pushing. And so it's one of my favorite flower essences, and it grows abundantly in New York City, because I really believe these flowers came here to be like, everybody chill out.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, and one of my favorite things is to see like a dandelion plant pushing up between the sidewalk cracks. Like, they are just everywhere around us, and they're so tough. Like, there's such strength that it takes to be able to flourish here. And I just wanted to mention also that dandelion is definitely one of my favorite flower essences, but it's also a food, and it's also an herb. So, and it's specifically a liver herb, right? So it's so interesting, right? Because dandelion starts sprouting up in spring, and dandelion is an herb that supports liver, which is associated with spring. If we were all living on a farm in nature, we would be more attuned to that kind of thing, I think. But so dandelion, you can work with it as a flower essence. You can eat the dandelion greens, and you could be drinking dandelion tea. And that would be like a complete spring wood treatment.
I love it. And it's like, I call them, they're like distant cousins, the foods, the flower essences, and the essential oils.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, the through line through all of those, it's like their family signature is this kind of detoxing agent. it's like cleansing through awareness, cleansing through the liver, cleansing through our bodies, and helping the chi to move in that way.
What does it taste like? It's very bitter. It's a bitter green. So,
Yes.
you know, like my family is Italian. So like we would eat dandelion greens. It's like kind of like a broccoli rabe kind of bitterness. So like, yes, if you're cooking it, you want to season it. You want to salt it. You probably want to cook it with some other stuff. But like, you know, I put it in some smoothies, and you can definitely drink the tea if you just want the benefits and you don't like the bitter taste. But also remember, the bitter taste is a digestion aid, which is probably part of why it's so helpful, because it's going to aid your digestion. I hope that answers the question.
And also, as a caveat, you know, if you are going to be working with dandelion as a food, don't go harvesting it in New York City.
No, don't.
Wherever you're getting the dandelion, that the soil is tested and all those things. It goes without saying, but then sometimes you do have to come back and say it. But
I planted it in my garden last year. Like, you want it to be, because dandelion, it's like you don't want to be picking it in the park.
Right. No bueno, no good. No good. Two of the other flower essences that are in the Stan blend, but also just like with essential oils, you can work with any of these essences individually. And the two are gorse and Scotch broom. And so gorse really resonates very strongly with that gate of hope, liver 14 point that we just talked about before. But what gorse helps us to do when we're feeling in our absolute darkness, it's almost like a little ray of light that comes in and helps us to see new possibilities. In fact, the flowers in this blend are mostly gold flowers, so I call them the golden girls, because if you can imagine bringing back this aspect of sunlight into the darkness, which is really what the season of spring is. It's bringing like the return of the sun and the longer days after this long period of like really long nights or a lot of heaviness or a lot of introspection. We're bringing back a little bit of the sun. And so these golden flowers help to do that. And so gorse works with us on a very personal level. It helps us to remember. It helps to remind us that our path is unfolding exactly as it should, and it helps us to align with that. And then Scotch broom is one of my favorite flower essences for the spring, but also for our current climate, because Scotch broom is when we need to restore our hope in humanity. So if we're feeling afraid or angry, if we're feeling like the world is ending, or if we're feeling like, you know, in the cultural or political context that we're just over it with humans right now, or we're ruining the planet, or all of those things, which may be true, maybe not true, but either way, Scotch broom is gonna kind of awaken our hope that, you know, we're gonna get through this and we're all gonna heal. And also nature is gonna heal. It's kind of this infusion of this idea that nature has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years and has seen worse than the likes of us. And so Scotch broom kind of restores that hope for the collective that we're all going to be okay. And I think that's really, really helpful, specifically during this time when we might be looking out our windows or looking on the news and just saying to ourselves, where is this all going? Scotch broom helps us to tune into this idea that wherever we're going, we're going to be okay.
I love that.
The thing that gives me hope about flower essence is that there's like literally a flower essence for everything. So every time I feel something new and I'm like, oh, there's a flower essence for that. That means someone somewhere has felt this way before.
Yes.
And something in that feels very healing. There was a question. Oh yes, yay, Scotch broom. I want to, for the question about how does it taste, which may I think have been specific to dandelion, but also for flower essences. One of the things that's different about flower essences is that they don't have a taste other than they're often preserved with brandy or alcohol, as all herbal tinctures are, or a little bit of glycerin, so there can be a sweetness to them, but the flower essences overall don't taste like anything much, especially if you're putting them in a glass of water. And the last flower essence that I wanted to share with you for the wood element is a blend that is called Abundance. And Abundance is a blend that helps us to reconnect to our purpose and our creativity. And especially during this current climate, a lot of folks are out of work, or a lot of folks are still working and reevaluating whether that work it suits them, whether they're working from home or an essential worker. So the Abundance Flower Essence is really about how do we tap into and tune into our purpose and the gifts that we have and the talents that we were born with, or the talents that we've cultivated, and use that in a new way to think about what abundance might look like for us. Another aspect of abundance is that it tunes us into gratitude and really feeling the force of abundance that is around us. And so specifically during this time when a lot of people are scared or facing uncertainty, maybe their business is closing, maybe they just don't know how things are going to go, the Abundance Essence helps to reconnect us to something that allows us to see ourselves in a new way and to step in our purpose and creativity in a new way. I love the comment, I need all of these. I do too. Same with my repertoire of flower essences. I'm always like working with different things, but they really are, the oils, the essences, they really remind us how much nature has our back and is here for us, and that we're not separated.
And that's part of the reason why Lindsay and I wanted to do this chat today, is to there can be a feeling of helplessness. So we wanted to share some of the tools that we work with that you can use at home, so that you don't feel like there's nothing you can do right now. There is something you can do. You can work with a flower essence. You can work with an oil. You can work with your diet. There are ways that you can work with this energy and treat some of the stagnation or helplessness that you're feeling on your own.
So looking at two of the really great flowers that are in the Abundance Blend, the first one is Wild Oat. And that one deals with our connection to our personal path. And I always tell people that Wild Oat is the flower essence that got me into acupuncture school. Because I was working for a nonprofit and I was kind of like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? What do I want to do? And I had this really great experience with acupuncture. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll be an acupuncturist. And then I looked into acupuncture schools and I was like, oh, it's 3 years and it's a grad degree and it's way too long and way too much money. But I kept working with Wild Oat. And as I was working with that flower essence, I really feel like doors started to open and a path became really clear. There were a lot of synchronicities and little like messages that were like, okay, go here now, or try this, or, it was just this inner voice got really, really strong about what it is that I was supposed to be doing, and really feeling like I'm doing the work that is aligned with my purpose. And so Wild Oat is really a great flower essence for that exploration of how do I move through the world in the way that is most going to allow my gifts to be shared with the world. And because I'm sharing my gifts with the world is going to support me with abundance and all of the tools and resources that I need to continue to share my gifts with the world. And sometimes that shows up in really creative ways that we wouldn't have thought about if we were just like kind of ruminating with our own minds, which is what some of us, tend to do when we're feeling stuck or worried about money. We start thinking, and it's kind of like this hustle mentality that kicks in of like how we can make things happen. Whereas Wild Oat helps us to take a step back and receive and say, okay, universe, give me a sign, throw me a bone, in that way. And then Lady Slipper is kind of like a nice ally for Wild Oat, because Lady Slipper helps us to own our authority and to say, okay, well, if this is what I want to do, how do I stand in the power of that? How do I connect? It's thought to really connect the crown chakra. So this like kind of universal understanding and connection with the root and sacral chakras in terms of how do I activate that on earth. So it's this connection between this divine insight and how do I activate that and stand in that with certainty and with clarity and with love and with grace. And so those are the two of the essences that I am really excited about in the Abundance Blend, because they really speak to this kind of soul searching that many of us are doing right now, not just, again, because of COVID-19, but, you know, because of the wood element. It's almost kind of cyclical. In my practice over the past 10 years, every spring, anybody who's been discontented at work will show up kind of mad at work right now. You know, it's kind of cyclical soul searching as the spring awakens in us and says, okay, what do I want to change? What light do I want to move towards? And all of those things.
And like, not to get like overly philosophical, but that feels like that is going on a global level right now. It's like the spring of the world. Like, what's working, what's not working, what's ending, what's beginning. So,
and I think, LouLou, like in line with that, I love that offering because it's also in season with the wood element, like reimagining and re-envisioning. So it's like we're moving out of like what the status quo was or the gravity of whatever was before, and beginning to open our minds and hearts to something that could be radically different, that we could move towards. But the capacity for us to see something differently right now is awakening and blossoming or sprouting.
yes. So, and I said this in my talk on last Sunday, I know people are suffering right now. This is a very, you know, it's a hard time, and a lot of people are struggling, and it's difficult, and old structures are crumbling, and it's uncertain. And it also feels like a tremendous opportunity for all of the things that you were just discussing, looking at things in a different way, making positive changes, etc.
And what I love about these tools, the oils, the essences, the foods, is that we don't have to just do that work in our own minds, because sometimes it's really hard to like look for the silver lining when you're having a hard day, or it feels inauthentic to be like, the world is sprouting, but I'm like, I'm suffering, you know? But that's where these tools come in and support, because we don't have to talk ourselves into seeing the world differently. We can move the energy so that we can see the world differently.
Exactly.
So I know we wanted to spend some time and open the floor for questions if folks have questions. But I do want to share our contact info. So I'm going to skip this old slide for a second. And so I'm Lindsay Fauntleroy, and my practice and business can be reached at oceansandrivers.com. Or you can follow me on IG at Oceans and Rivers. Again, we're going to send an email with all of this info. But LouLou, where can we find you?
I am at LouLou.com, and you see my Instagram there also. All of these blends that we are discussing are for sale on our websites. Again, we'll be sending you out an email with all of this information, and yes, word links, we will do that. And also, we're open to questions. Like, we're open to questions now, of course, but like, we're open to questions later as well. Like, we're here to support you. We hope that you use some of these tools, and any way we can support you doing that, we're happy to do.
So I'm gonna turn off my screen share so that we can come back and see our faces as we talk and as we share. Oh, that's great. Now I can see everybody. Perfect.
Hi, Shannon. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. And also, I should mention, we're going to be coming back in 2 weeks on the 29th to do the fire element, right?
Yes, we will actually be doing there's 5 elements. So we're going to do this every other week through till the end of this situation, which we're prepared to do it till the end of May. If it ends sooner than that, great. But we will be here every other week at noon, going through the other elements. So our next chat will be 2 weeks from now, and it will be on the fire element and treating insomnia and anxiety with through the fire element.
Awesome.
Hi, Francis.
So just opening up the floor, does anyone have any specific or general questions about what we talked today? Or also not just questions, but insights from your own experiences working with plant medicine or working with the elements in acupuncture?
I have a question for you guys.
Shannon?
So do you, for your patients, do any individual, I won't use the word prescriptions, but like Lou, will you construct something from your oils specifically for somebody? And Lindsay, will you do the same with flower essences? Or do you just make what you make and you know that it'll fit somebody's profile?
That's a great question. LouLou, do you want to go first or?
Yeah, the answer is yes and no. Yes and no. I actually developed the blends that I have now through my experiences in my practice. So most of them treat most of the things that come up in practice. But I often will suggest an individual oil for people to work with based on what they're dealing with. So yes and no. And Lindsay, I know you do personal blends.
Yeah, I would say the majority of the folks that I work with in practice, and now that I'm seeing offering virtual sessions, I'll create a custom flower essence remedy. There's thousands of flower essences, and so what in the world of flower essence therapy, what we do is we'll work together with one blend. A person will work with that for about a week, and then we'll look at what's uncovered, and then I'll make another blend for them, either a personal custom blend, or in some cases I do use the elementals essences. But like LouLou, I created the elementals essences out of like these kind of archetypal patterns that, you know, that we see governed by these elements and these forces of nature. But I definitely do custom remedies. And then I also, especially now that we've gone virtual, for some of my acupuncture clients, I'll do protocols where I'll give them a specific oil and points to massage along with a flower essence. So yes to both of those questions.
And just to add, but what I do, I work a lot with food energetics as well. And that I do, every single person's constitution is different. And everybody requires a very personalized dietary plan. So in that way, yes, I completely structure any dietary counseling to the person's specific needs. There is no one size fits all dietary theory. Just want to say that again. Any other questions? Anything? Don't be shy.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah.
Mute myself. I had to unmute myself. Sorry about that. If I start taking flower essences, I know this is a very general question. How quickly will I see the benefits from this? I mean, it's not going to be right away. I'm assuming I'm not going to be like, woo, or will it? I don't know.
Sometimes, yes.
Oh, okay. Sometimes, yes. It really depends. I would say the short answer to that question is that some flower essences are more like kind of immediate settling the nervous system. So some of them you'll feel right away. And then some of them are really kind of digging and looking for like deeper limiting beliefs. And so what I say is that the more mindful you can be, the stronger your practice is of paying attention to your thoughts and paying attention to your dreams and paying attention to like those little intuition hits, the more you'll see how fast the essences are working, because they're super, super subtle and they don't feel like something artificial. So they don't feel like, oh, I'm doing or saying this because of the essence. It feels really authentic, like it's just you and your normal way of doing things. So I usually recommend that people work with a flower essence for about 4 weeks. And somewhere around the 2-week mark is where people will really start being like, oh, wow, I had this insight or this aha or this thing changed for me or opened up for me. So that's the standard of how they work. But some people do feel an immediate like download of like, okay, I can do this, or I just feel supported in a different way. Even if
I want that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I know everybody's starting to leave, and thank you for joining us, but I just wanted to say, and Lindsay will be able to say this better, but Lindsay always says the plants are here to help us. Like, they are here, they're cheering for us. They want us to succeed, and they are everywhere. So like, I hope encourages you to start working with them in whatever form you want to, whether it's an oil or an herb or a food or a flower. Like, the plants are here to help us succeed.
I think you said that perfectly.
Okay.
They love us and we love them.
Yeah.
And we love you. And we are so grateful for you for joining us during this lunchtime power hour.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you.